Hola Majimbos, welcome to this episode of Men of Hope monthly podcast. Remember, we are on every first Thursday of every month. If you enjoy this content, remember to like and subscribe to the channel, and remember the bell notification so that you get notified every time we upload an episode. Thanks again, man, for honoring the invite, and welcome, to our humble abode.
Thanks, man. Hey, really appreciate it.
Sure, man.
On that note, actually,
yeah,
I've got a young game that I want us to play.
Go ahead.
Just quick fire questions.
Yeah.
Just so we can I can get to know you better.
Definitely.
So you ready?
I was born ready.
Let's go.
Yeah.
First one. Yeah. BMW or Merc?
Audi.
Why?
Hey, dude, I like the Quattro, and they are more, and Audi is more like half and half. So it gives you
a bit of both.
Yeah.
It's dope, actually. Cool. Cristiano Ronaldo or Messi?
Ronaldo.
Why?
He shows that hard work can be just as good as talent, if not better. Yeah, I don't think he's super talented. I think he works very hard.
Sure. Okay. Here's a bit of a weird one. Would you rather have bad breath for a day or bad armpits for a day?
Breath or armpits?
Yeah, you have to choose.
For a day?
For a day. Look at you want umlomo or armpits?
Bad breath.
You'd rather have bad breath?
Yeah, for a day.
Why?
Because the bad breath, I can sort of control it.
Okay.
I can decide not to speak to people and nobody would know.
They won't know that, hey, homie has a problem that side.
So I can choose to keep my mouth shut.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Armpits is gonna be a bit difficult to do that.
Yeah, I know. Hey. Next one. Coffee or tea?
Coffee. Black, strong, no sugar, no cream.
Not diluted?
Yeah, no.
Yeah, I know. We name him bad. King David or the Apostle Paul? Choose one.
I'd say Paul. I think Paul is a more conventional example that suits our era now.
More relatable.
More relatable because, look, King David is a man of war. We don't really fight a lot of them, except if you are in Russia and if you are there,
sure,
you are Putin or something. But generally, we live in a time of peace. Wow. I relate more to Paul. The fights that he fights are more spiritual than physical. Yeah.
Sure. Good analogy. Stephen Furtick or TD Jakes? Choose one.
TD Jakes.
Why?
At his age, and I'm talking about TD Jakes now, not a few years ago.
Okay.
TD Jakes now. In ministry, you'd realize that the older you get, the more unapologetic you become. And you sort of earn your stripes. You don't really, how in your mood.
Sure.
So I think he's at that point where he can tell the truth and nobody would blink an eye. You know what I mean? Whereas as a young minister, when you start out, you sort of need to tread on eggshells and tread carefully. But yeah, for that reason, I think I find older ministers more brutal with the truth. Yeah.
And the last one, what's your favorite international soccer team?
Dude, I'll be honest with you. I watch a whole range. However,
so you're a sports fan, you're a soccer fan, like?
Not a super soccer fan. I'm more a motoring fan.
Motoring,
yes,
F1.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't understand motoring.
Formula One, all races, car races. I like them. But if I have to choose an international soccer team, it will be Liverpool. I know people will be saying, but they just lost. Yeah, no, I know. But yeah, that's I really enjoy their brand of football. Hey man, I hope this meets your standard. Cheese boy, and I hope I hope
Cheese boy.
you know your friends.
They need to get it right. I work hard so I can live soft.
Yeah,
That's what it is. I wrote a few questions down that I just felt like I wanted to ask you, just in terms of like seeing things from your perspective, you know? Because obviously I'm from a different generation.
Yeah.
So one of the questions I had is, do you feel like the church is still relevant today in terms of mentoring and discipling young people, especially men on men, in terms of preparing them for adulthood? Do you feel like...
Hey dude, you know discipleship is in today's terms we call it mentorship, but it's generally the same thing.
Yeah.
And I believe I have a sense that we're not doing enough of it.
Okay.
Yeah, there seems to be a bit of a divide between you guys and us, and I've taken it upon myself to try and bridge that gap.
Yeah. You're right when you say there's like a bit of a gap, because something that I've always felt. Why is like, because a lot of the times, you know, when you ask for advice from like older mans, a lot of the times it's almost like they see it as like
a confession yarn.
Yeah,
a confession yarn of some sort.
You know, it's almost like, also it's like it's why aren't you doing this? Or, you know, when I was younger, you know, I did this. And sometimes I feel like the message, it's not the message that's the problem, but it's like how it's delivered. It becomes a bit toxic for us.
Yeah.
So I feel like sometimes it creates that thing where I learn so sour, or they're gonna judge me, or they're gonna feel like.
No, look. To be honest, especially when you're dealing with church folk, it always feels like that. I mean, if you come to me with a question that regards pornography, for example, we sort of create a situation where it feels like you are confessing that you have a problem of pornography.
Yes.
And in most cases, I would address it from that point from that perspective. And I think it's something that we need to guard against, because one, we need when we engage with your generation, we need to create a space where you feel safe, where you feel like I can talk to this guy about anything without him judging or whatever. At the same time, I expect you to be truthful about it. If you do have that problem, I expect you to say, you know what, obviously we continue asking God for wisdom.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, for now it's about that. And it's about, you can only be open to me if we have a real relationship, not a relationship that comes because there's a men and boys type of thing.
Let's do this.
No. When we start forming genuine relationships, then yeah, it would be easier for all of us.
I like that a lot, because I keep saying this to my friends. I'm like, you know, the sad truth about life is that if the Manzarona that we look up to aren't like there in terms of allowing us to get close to them, to ask certain questions and feel safe enough to be like, how do I do this? We're gonna go elsewhere for that like mentorship. Even like, what's up, but like you're saying, you go to the pornography, you go to the internet, you go to, you know, a famous celebrity and you follow their life. You're like,
exactly. That's the thing, and I think that the church needs to really realize that it should be a brewing ground for mentors, for, you know, people that you look up to. I'm not saying there's nothing wrong with looking up to celebrities in the secular world, but you need to choose right. You need to look at certain elements. As a Christian, you need to say, yeah, this man has a lot of money, however, I'm not too sure of how he got his money. We need to create genuine relationships.
Yeah.
If you see somebody that you can regard as a role model in the church, be available, talk to them. Don't be afraid to approach them, because sometimes you see these successful people and you're thinking, hey, this guy, I don't want to waste his time. Sometimes you are right that the man does not have time. But I'm sure that, I mean, in today's world of technology, we can create something. Yeah, we could decide to have a meeting every week. It doesn't have to be in person. You know what I mean? You can meet over. Yeah.
Sometimes I feel like the fear comes from, on my side, is like, can someone approach it, because it almost feels like I'm looking for something. It's almost like so that you can, I don't know, put me on or help me or.
But what's wrong with that? But what's wrong with that? If you go to somebody who can put you on, why not? Do you know Mangamla? The reason they succeed so much is because they put each other on.
Sure.
That's the major difference between us and them actually. Is that they look out for each other. And Rona, we really that pride. Our and there's nothing wrong with that. There is absolutely nothing wrong with that. That's what I believe at least. I might be wrong, but now from where I'm sitting, there's nothing wrong with somebody putting you on. In fact, that is what life is meant to be. You know, the one who's up there must pull others up to his level.
Sure.
And there's nothing wrong with that. But like I say, you also need to choose correctly. The people that you want to associate yourself with, do a bit of a background check for yourself.
What's one thing that you regret doing as a young man? One regret that you have as a young man?
Hey dude, I try not to have regrets in my life. I cherish every experience I went through, good or bad, because I believe that I am what I am now because of what I've went through. And I'm not sure if I would like to be a different person. However, there's things that I believe I would have loved to have done earlier in my life. One of them is finding God. You know what I mean? Giving my life to the Lord. I feel that's something that every young person should do as soon as possible, as soon as they get the message, as soon as they are convicted. You know what I mean? Because just by doing that, there's a whole lot of trouble that you avoid. if you genuinely give your life to Christ. Yeah, there's a whole lot of trouble that you will never have to experience those struggles. That's the one thing. The other thing is probably a bit of a funny thing is that I would have loved to marry my girlfriend.
Wow.
Earlier. My wife now.
Who's your girlfriend there?
Yeah. I would have loved to have married her earlier. I mean, I could be sitting here and boasting, hey, 22 years in marriage now. Instead of just 13.
Can I ask you why?
Why
do you feel like you wish you would have married her sooner? And I ask you that because I'm like 29 this year. And a lot of people are like, bro, you should be this, you should be that, you should be, you know?
That's the reason I believe that I would have loved to have married her earlier. Not necessarily earlier in my life, but earlier in our relationship. I don't know if you understand what I mean.
Okay.
So I would have loved to meet her maybe today and maybe six months down the line get married.
Sure.
So that the struggles, every struggle that we had, we would have had it renewed. You understand what I mean? Because when you go through struggles, you still feel like you have options.
Yes.
You're not 100% committed, and I feel that our relationship would have progressed further quicker.
Wow. I feel like our generation, maybe I speak for me, but I feel like the idea of like, because we've grown up with so many options generally, like from your cool drink that you want to drink to what shows you want to watch. There's Netflix, there's this. So the idea of having options is just so embedded in our minds. So much so that when you think about, this person for my whole life, it becomes so, I actually become anxious on this. Be like, okay, how do I?
And let me tell you, whatever makes you anxious, the only way you're going to overcome it is to do it. I mean, imagine, start to drive. And how do you overcome that? By doing it more. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Yeah. So you are anxious about getting married, find the right person and marry them. One guy said, there's only two requirements for a man to get married. One, they must know Christ. That's the first condition.
Yeah.
The second condition is they must have work. And having work is not necessarily a job. Yes, it could be a job, but have work. Like have a way of generating income. Those are the only two things. That's not required.
I think that's what also builds onto our anxiety.
That's not, yes.
What's enough money?
No. You don't need enough money. You need to have a way of getting an income and know Christ. Actually know Christ and have a way of income. Once you have those two, you find the right person, get married.
Herman, what do you think or what do you see young people doing today that you feel like is going to be a challenge or a stumbling block for them in the future?
Hey man, the recklessness that we see young people being involved in. Hey, I mean, a couple of weeks ago, we had that story about Dizolo, and they recorded themselves in full uniform and what. That's quite reckless, and it seems like you guys are competing, or who can be more reckless than the other one. Those things have a way of coming back to you. You know, you have one body, and that's the only body you have. You don't get spare parts, pal. I know that there are some transplants and what, but generally, no spare wheel. No, understand. So if you pump your body full of certain things that will harm your body, yes, some people recover from it. But why would you want to expose yourself to it if you don't need to? You know what I mean? And I think that's one thing that we need to get our young people to understand.
But it's for the vibe, it's for the cool, it's for the fun, it's for the...
You want to tell me that you can't have fun without necessarily putting yourself through that? Then you guys have a very weird sense of fun. I mean, I don't know, dude. But for now, I think that's the one thing, because what happens is when you reach a certain stage in your life, those things catch up with you, and there's no reversing them. You know what I mean? And that's the recklessness that some of you guys handled your lives. That's the one thing that I think will sure. and recklessness not only as in a personal way. Look, when you observe young people now, I get a sense that you guys don't really take care of each other. So I'll flop. I don't believe that there's enough of your peers telling you, yeah, because you learn this thing where somebody who does right must be shamed. Yeah, you get praised if you do wrong. Yeah, you must be praised if you do wrong. If you do right, you must be shamed. Understand? If you cheese boy, you must be shamed.
Which is the weirdest thing ever.
Which is the weirdest thing ever. I'm doing better than you, so I must hide that I'm doing better than you so that to accommodate you. Sure. Instead of you looking at me and saying, this man is doing better than me, what can I do to elevate myself to get there?
But that mentality that, you know, I want to bring the race thing into it, but I feel like there's a lot of, you know, racism amongst the same race type of thing that happens. Tribal racism, whatever they call it, you know? Whereas like, just because you're my brother, but you can't win or you can't move forward, it's
crazy. That's the craziest and weirdest thing, because we need to learn that we can all win together. We need to learn that, and even amongst you guys, you need to help each other see that for me to win does not necessarily mean that you have to lose. We can both win. It's possible to find ourselves in a situation where we are all winners. What do you think we can do as men to assist in creating a better man for the next generation?
Oh, that's a tricky question. I think, if I'm going to be brutally honest, I think personally it begins with you guys, in the sense that, you know, as much as there's this thing or we don't talk, you know. So I feel like if that is known, then Mahrukman need to be comfortable with talking to each other about such deep, personal, you know, confidential issues. Because if you're comfortable to do with Mahrukman that are your peers, it'll be easy for you to come to me and be like, regardless of whether you know me, regardless of whether ki hobo or ki ntwana ko trekking or ki tswakai, just that thing of being able to avail yourself, especially for like Christian Khutmans who are praying. I feel like they should have that instinct naturally, because as young boys, one of these statistics that obviously a lot of us growing up with like no fathers or, you know, male figures around us, if that's true, then it should be a no-brainer that you should have that instinct to be like, hey, let me check or but I feel like maybe it's not happening. I'm trying to see from your perspective, maybe it's not happening peer to peer.
No,
so it becomes difficult.
There's another dynamic, and thank you for that response. But there's another dynamic. You see, we also need to be careful in coming into a relationship with young boys who do not necessarily have fathers in their lives, because yes, they don't have fathers, but they definitely have mothers. And when you're going to foster a relationship with this young man, you need to be comfortable that whatever influence is going to come through that involves the mother, you are able to manage. Because there's another dynamic there. I mean, you might be trying to talk to Karabo here and trying to find out, and Karabo's mom finds out that, hey, you are trying to get close to my son, and she sees that genuinely there's a change in Salawat. And now she starts also wanting to have a relationship with this guy who's having an influence on my son.
That's what you're saying.
So you know what I mean? As much as we encourage it, personally I encourage it. The guys that I interact with, but I always warn them and that be aware of this. Be aware of this as well.
The temptation.
That fine line. That fine line that you need to tread. But you're right. I mean, each and every one of us, whether it's on your street, I mean, yesterday there was an incident where we were at a soccer pitch, and one of the boys from the opponent picked up a fight with the coach. The other team. Yeah, I mean, these guys are probably decades apart in terms of age. But this young boy feels that he can pick up a fight. So you already, when you see that, you see now there's something lacking there. For me and you, well, for some of us, you know that you can't do that. You don't pick a fight with an elder, even if they are wrong, because we are Africans and that's how we are raised. But something like that, it's a red flag. And as a red flag, then you go in, after game, are you okay? I want that type of thing.
Sure, and that behavior breeds itself into what we see in relationships.
Exactly. Then we sit with GBV and what. So I'm 100% with you. That as men, we need to be more aware of those red flags and act on them. You share your numbers with them. What can I do? You help them with you planting that seed, and you'll see if we all do that, then we bring all our assets together, and then it becomes a very big thing. But it does not have to start big. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's almost like what Rev says, or everything rises and falls on families. I'd even say, on mentorship in some way.
Yeah, that type of thing. So yeah, I think generally, Majita, we are able to relate to one another, but we need to put more effort into that and be more deliberate about it.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you for the invite. I feel like, these conversations are very essential in terms of just teaching us what there's mentors that are available. Little now should not be distant. Come close. Seek that help,
Yeah.
So thank you for the invite.
No, man, any day. I'll pass the thanks to my wife. No, man, thank you for honoring the invite as well. My daughter out there, thank you for watching. As you know, this is June, Youth Month, and I think we need to take it upon ourselves to make sure that the next generation is better than ours, and we can do that by, just grabbing one or two young men so that we can change our society, change our nation, one boy child at a time. Tune in, remember to subscribe and like this content if you like it, and forward it to your friends, invite everyone.